You've probably seen it happen. Someone is telling a story and something about it just feels off. They're smiling, nodding, giving details, maybe too many details, and yet your brain quietly whispers, that doesn't sound right, but you ignore it. Because calling someone a liar feels dramatic, awkward, even confrontational. So the moment passes. Later, you find out your instinct was right. Here's the strange part. Most lies aren't caught because people are bad liars. They're caught because the human brain leaks tiny signals when it bends the truth. Micro behaviors, odd reactions, small psychological cracks. The fascinating thing is that once you know what to look for, you can often spot a lie within seconds, not through magic, but through patterns of human behavior that repeat again and again. Psychologists and behavioral experts sometimes talk about these as dark psychology observation tricks, ways of noticing when someone's mind is scrambling to protect a false story. And today we're going to explore some of the most revealing ones, not so you become paranoid about everyone around you, but so you can start noticing what your instincts may already be telling you. Because once you see these patterns, you can't really unsee them. Let's start with a very common type of liar, the one who talks a little too perfectly. Imagine asking someone a simple question. Hey, did you send that email to the client? Instead of a quick answer, they lean forward and begin explaining every detail of their day. Suddenly you're hearing about what time they opened their laptop, which emails they checked first, how the Wi-Fi was acting strange, and how they refreshed the browser before doing anything else. Before you know it, a yes or no question has turned into a 5-minute documentary. This behavior often comes from what psychologists call overcompensation. When people lie, their brain tries to make the story feel more believable by stuffing it with details. The logic seems simple. More information means more credibility. But in reality, truth is usually simple. Lies tend to be decorated. The mind in lie mode is juggling multiple things at once, maintaining the story, watching your reaction, remembering what was said earlier, and avoiding contradictions. So the speaker fills the space with unnecessary details, hoping the lie blends into the noise. Then there's another kind of signal that can feel surprisingly strange. The person who becomes almost too calm. Imagine confronting someone directly. You ask, did you move the money from the account? Instead of surprise or confusion, they instantly relax. Soft smile, gentle tone, perfect composure. No, of course not. Why would I do that? On the surface, calmness looks innocent, but sometimes it's actually a performance. When people lie under pressure, the brain often switches into control mode. Suddenly they become hyper-aware of their body language. Every gesture becomes calculated. Movements slow down. The voice becomes softer. Smiles appear more often than usual. It's almost like watching someone carefully act out the role of a trustworthy person. The strange thing is that real emotions are rarely that tidy. When someone is falsely accused, their reaction is often messy and immediate: confusion, frustration, disbelief. But controlled calmness can sometimes signal that someone is managing the moment instead of reacting to it. Another revealing clue appears in something extremely small: a delay. You ask someone a direct question. Did you eat the last slice of pizza? There's a pause. Not a normal thinking pause, but a strange one. Their eyes shift slightly. Their mouth tightens, then the answer finally arrives. No, that tiny pause can matter more than it seems. Telling the truth usually requires remembering something that already exists in memory. Lying requires creating a new story on the spot, and creation takes time. The brain quickly searches for an explanation that fits the situation, sounds believable, and doesn't contradict anything said earlier. Even a short delay can reveal that mental scramble. This is one reason investigators often repeat questions in different ways. A lie that was carefully built once becomes harder to maintain when pressure increases. Truth tends to remain stable, but fabrication starts to wobble. Sometimes the body itself reveals even more. You ask someone something serious. Did you tell them about the meeting? They say no, but their head nods slightly. Or they say yes, while subtly shaking their head. These tiny mismatches between words and body language happen more often than people realize. Speech is controlled consciously, but body language often slips out automatically. When someone is lying, their brain focuses heavily on controlling the words, and the body sometimes betrays the hidden truth. Another fascinating reaction appears when someone suddenly turns the accusation back on you. You ask a straightforward question. Did you tell them my secret? Instead of answering, the person reacts defensively. Why are you accusing me? Do you think I'm that kind of person? Suddenly the conversation is shifted. Instead of evaluating their answer, you're now defending your question. This is a classic psychological defense. When people feel cornered, the brain sometimes chooses offense instead of explanation. By creating emotional pressure or shifting the focus, the original question disappears from the conversation. And surprisingly, it works quite often because humans naturally dislike conflict. We tend to back down quickly just to restore peace. But if you pay attention, you'll notice something important. The question never actually got answered. Eye behavior also plays an interesting role. Many people believe liars avoid eye contact, but real behavior can be very different. Some liars actually maintain too much eye contact, almost as if they're trying too hard to prove their honesty. The stare becomes intense, slightly forced, and unusually steady. Somewhere in their mind, they believe that honest people always look others directly in the eye, so they hold that gaze longer than normal. In contrast, truthful people often break eye contact naturally during conversation. Their attention drifts as they think or recall memories. But someone trying to appear honest may hold eye contact rigidly, almost like they're performing a role. The longer it continues, the more unnatural it begins to feel. Of course, none of these behaviors alone prove someone is lying. People pause because they're tired. People over-explain because they're nervous. People stay calm because they're emotionally balanced. But when several of these signals appear together, the pattern becomes harder to ignore. An overly detailed story, a strange pause, a body language mismatch, and a sudden defensive reaction. Those combinations are often where intuition starts to ring alarm bells. The interesting thing is that your brain may already notice these signals without you realizing it. Humans evolved to read social cues long before language existed. Our ancestors survived by sensing danger, deception, and hidden intentions in others. That ancient radar still exists inside us. Sometimes it just needs awareness to wake up again. So the next time someone tells a story that feels slightly off, pay attention. Notice the details, the pauses, the tone, the small body signals. You might discover that spotting dishonesty isn't about aggressively interrogating people. It's about observing human behavior quietly and carefully. And now here's a question for you. Have you ever caught someone in a lie because something simply felt wrong? Maybe you noticed an over-explained story, a defensive reaction, or a strange pause before an answer. Maybe it was a friend, a coworker, or someone you barely knew. Or maybe, if we're being honest, you've even caught yourself doing one of these things. Because the truth is that almost everyone bends reality once in a while. The real curiosity is recognizing the patterns behind it. So which of these behaviors have you seen the most? And now that you know what to watch for, will you ever hear a suspicious story in quite the same way again? Pay closer attention the next time a conversation feels slightly off, because the smallest signals often reveal the biggest truths. If you like this video, make sure to like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any update. Also, share it with your friends.